Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out, and I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong so I apologize, Touhou Kabuto V Burst Battle. Why do they make these names so hard? I don't even know, but this is the latest in the series of spin-off doujin, or I believe they're more like fan games as an English term, that have been brought over to the United States. And, well, we'll see about this one shortly. So, before you ask, I haven't played online. There's a reason for this. I have tried a couple of times today to get on to find someone to fight with, but there hasn't been anyone on. If someone wants to put some more accurate opinions in the comments about the online, if they managed to get it to work, fine by me. The only problem is nobody was bloody playing, except for this one Japanese dude. But for some reason, the versions of between Japan and the rest of the world are different, so you can't play against them. Don't know why. There's not that much to see in the options. You can do your volume settings and you can change your button settings, and notably you can remap everything, which is pretty nice. I don't plan on remapping it because the base they've got here is actually pretty good. It works in the way you would want it to for this sort of game. They also have some weird naming, what's the word, conventions for a English fighting game. Because these two modes here, Arcade and Score Attack, these are both survival. Like, I'm not entirely sure why they called these two individual modes why they didn't call them survival modes, because that's basically what they are. The only difference is that Arcade, you're going for knockouts, and Score Attack, you're going for points. And basically, you're going to end up at the same place anyway, so I don't really know why they're two separate modes to begin with. I mean, you could easily merge them into one, but nevertheless, we'll get onto them later. You do also have a very basic versus the computer mode, where you can also play against a training AI and change a few options. And you also have the archives. Now, you might think that the archives would be something along the lines of, you know, brain work with me here, like a gallery, background music, just like little bits of information about the universe that the whole Touhou thing is. And no, it's your online leaderboards. I am not entirely sure what the deal is here, and also you can see it says checking Touhou Kabuto V data there, but it's not actually doing anything until you press one of the buttons. The online leaderboards are actually pretty fleshed out though. You've got leaderboards for everything in the game, which is nice. So, we're just going to go into the story mode, and that's basically where we're going to spend most of the game, because, well, to be fair, it's how I'll look the most competent, because the weird thing is, the AI in the other modes is way harder for no particular reason than the story mode, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, you can play a story mode. You can play a story with every character. They're all different, but when I say different, I mean they're all very similar, but different stuff does actually happen. I have played with most of these characters. Okay, apparently Mei Ling Hong is only a Chinese girl. Poor girl. I mean, you've got the Fairy of the Ice, an Oriental Western Magician, a Shrine Maiden, and a bloody yokai of all things, and all she gets is Chinese girl. That's unfortunate. But yeah, I have played with most of these characters, and I don't so much have opinions on all of them, but there is a general couple of things that seems to apply across all of them that I can talk about. My personal favorite is Marisa Kirisame. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that either, but I have tried her out and I've liked her moves, so we'll be playing her story mode. Weirdly enough, the stories in this game, and I'm just going to keep talking because there's no voice acting in this whatsoever, but the weird thing about this game's story modes is that you can't actually select freely from them from the beginning. You have to play through Reimu's, then Marisa's, then you have to play Remelia's, which is odd. I'm not entirely sure why they make you play through them in that order specifically, especially since the stories are really lightweight. We're talking the lightest of lightweights going on here. There's nothing serious going on whatsoever. You want to know what the entire plot is to this game? Remelia went and made an animate Reimu head that runs around attacking people. And the story changes depending on who your main character is, but it's basically just like you fight 5 people, and then you go and fight the giant head, and then that's it. That's seriously it. Like, there's seriously no massive change in the story to make it any remotely different, which is, I guess it's alright, but I mean, even other fighting games, I don't even understand that joke. Like, I don't know what the deal is with 9. Is Cherno... Is that like the number 9 in Japanese? You'd think I'd know this with how many Japanese games I've been playing, but... Yeah, it's just really lightweight and has absolutely no relevance to anything whatsoever as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell. You don't even get to play as a Woo, I think. Well, you might. I just might be losing my mind. I don't even know her bloody name. I just know her as the Woo girl. So, whatever. We'll just hop straight into a fight, shall we? Because that's pretty much the entire point of the game. As you can see, the girl literally just walked towards me, which is a bit silly, but... Oh well. We're going to play the game. The game's controls are very simple, as you saw back in the options menu there. You have 6 buttons. 3 of them are your attack buttons. You can see them in the bottom right corner of the screen. The circle, the square, and the triangle. Now, the circle, the square, and the triangle are different kinds of attacks. And they all empty their own individual meters. And if that meter runs out, you can't use that attack. Which is really quite unfortunate, because it means that some attacks take half a bloody age to recharge, and you'll end up using attacks from both meters, and then you'll end up only being stuck with 1 meter, which will probably be like your most useless attack. But the attacks are relatively similar across the characters in that your long-range attack, your short-range attack, and your medium-range attack are all going to be on similar buttons for all of them. You do also have a super attack you can activate by pressing triangle and circle, but I completely missed because I forgot that Marisa's special attack is a bloody super beam. Your other buttons are pretty simple. You've got the L button, which lets you guard, and you've got the R button, which lets you dash. However, you can't dash most of the time. You can't guard, I should say, most of the time, and there's a reason for that, because there's more that I haven't told you. Which we can't yet, because as the AI in this is ridiculously easy. For some bloody reason. Like, I'm not entirely sure why they feel the need to make it as easy as they did. I'm just going to go through this relatively quickly, because these story breaks basically mean nothing. It doesn't really... It gives you a little bit of insight into the personality of the girls, but then again, because it literally doesn't go into it further than just, like, a couple of interactions between them. I get that this is meant to be a spin-off game to an entirely different series, but it just doesn't do anything for me because I haven't played the original games, and unless I want to go pirating them, well, I actually can't legally. So it just feels weird to have so little characterization. At least Double Focus gave it a little bit more than this. Considering how little story content there is in this game. Like, you can finish these story modes in like half an hour. I probably won't finish the entire thing. I'll probably go and show you what the harder modes look like, just to make it look like I'm not as competent as I actually am. But yeah. So, you might notice that I'm throwing out different attacks on different buttons, despite seemingly not doing anything different. Well, it's because I'm holding the L and the R buttons. Depending on whether you're holding the L button to... Well, you're not guarding unless you're up close. But depending on whether or not you're holding the L and the R button, you'll actually do different kinds of attacks. And the general idea is you want to be creating what's more or less a Danmaku for your opponent to go through. Because Touhou is a bullet hell series, which is literally what Danmaku translates to. So you want to be making it as difficult as possible for your opponent to avoid anything you've got, right? Because you want them to be absolutely struggling to dodge or take out your bullets. Notably, you can actually destroy your enemy's bullets with your own attacks, and it'll give you P meter, and that's how you charge your special attack up. Mailing hasn't used a special attack yet. I want to be kind of careful about that. But yeah, that's the main way you earn special meter. You just fight them off and use your bullets to block their bullets, and they can do exactly the same thing back to you, so spamming attacks in their general direction isn't going to work, which I quite like. However, the thing about special attacks is, I have used one in this video already. The thing about some special attacks is that they're extremely powerful. Like, I'm not entirely sure what they're doing by making them so powerful. I mean, you can literally one-hit kill half the roster with Marisa's special ability. I'm talking full health, no health. I was playing her story mode, which is, well, the mode I'm currently playing right now. And in the first round, I managed to get it fully charged up, but I didn't use it because I wanted to save it for the second round. Then in the second round, I used it immediately. I used it straight away. And their health went from 100 to 0. Done. Game over. It's very odd. I don't know why they're so powerful. Also, I'm not entirely sure why there's no voice acting in these cutscenes. There's voice acting in the pre- and post-battle taunts. I'm not sure why they didn't get the voice actors in for like half an hour longer, just judging by how many bloody lines there are. But yeah, no voice acting in these story scenes feels a bit weird. The actual voice acting as well isn't too bad. It's in Japanese, can't change it to English, but I don't really see the point in changing it to English anyway. This game is so thoroughly Japanese that would feel weird having Japanese people, that would feel weird having non-Japanese people in it. But yeah. There are a couple of other things as well, like if you get close, you can do melee attacks with the usual attack buttons. And they do hurt. You can also guard and do quick sidesteps, like I just did, and failed miserably because Patchouli is a ranged character, so she wants to stay as far away as humanly possible. So yeah, the melee is pretty much useless against her. I do like the idea of having a different set of moves that you can modify using the button presses. However, I do have one problem with it, and that is that actually getting your modified moves out is really hard. Like, I know that sounds weird, but actually making it so that your modified moves come out, I'm not entirely sure how you're supposed to do it, because, I mean, holding the L button is obvious, but they also, in the manual, list Marisa as having an L plus R plus circle attack, or it might have been someone else. They aren't particularly open about it. It's kind of hard to figure out what does what. It's kind of hard to figure out if I have an attack on L plus R plus square, for example. And the problem with that is that it's just hard to know what your character's like without just fucking around for a while, which kind of sucks, honestly. And the other downside is that there's no in-game move list. It just doesn't exist. I'm not entirely sure why. So it really does end up being just a crapshoot. Like, you just gotta watch them while you're fighting them, and then when you drop into another character, you have to figure it out all on your own, which is surprisingly annoying. I don't know why a fighting game like this is missing a move list. It's weird. Yeah, this feels like fan service. This really does feel like fan service. I legit can't tell you too much about these two characters, so I'm guessing this is just meant to be like a Persona 4 Dancing All Night sort of thing. Does the Touhou series have like a continuing story? I assume it does, otherwise there wouldn't be like 15 bloody games for it, but still, it's just weirding me out. I really should get around to playing them someday. I don't mind scrolling shooters too much. But yeah. So there is one major complaint I have about the overall gameplay of Burst Battle, which I'm just gonna call it that from now on, because I'm not gonna try saying the actual title again, because I'm just gonna fuck it up. The one complaint I have about it, the one major complaint I should say, and this is coming from someone who's been playing a lot of Gundam Versus lately, so you'll have to excuse me if this is my fault more than the game's fault. But it's that the game is really sluggish. Like, you move pretty slowly, your attacks come out pretty slowly, it's got a button queuing, so you'll end up doing, like, if you've been just, like, massively pressing the button, which is what I tend to do, you'll end up doing one more attack more than I'm really used to. So, you just end up in this weird situation where you pressing buttons, trying to get your attacks out, and you'll just end up doing like one more attack in a certain attack type that you didn't actually mean to do. And it just kind of frustrates me more than anything else. How did I take off half her health in one shot? Jesus. Well, it's round 2, so I might as well do this. Well, I blew some of her knives out of the water. That's good. There we go. That was surprisingly easy. So I'm gonna pop back and start playing the actual modes, the other 2 modes that they've got that aren't the story, just so I don't completely spoil everything. Notably, you actually have to do the entire story mode in one go, which is kind of annoying. You would think with the story mode, they'd let you just, you know, pop out and come back at any time. I imagine a story more along the lines of, like, Mortal Kombat X, where it's you get a character, you go through a bit of the story, then you swap characters when stuff starts going down somewhere else. I don't know why they've done the story the way they have, because there's really no difference between the individual stories. They all end up the same way, more or less. And it just kind of dull, more or less. The writing isn't particularly grand. The CGs aren't horrible, but they aren't great either. It just... a lot of this game is just really meh. That's kind of my problem with it. But anyway, I'm going to go play Score Attack. It doesn't really matter whether I play Arcade or Score Attack, because I've literally got the same things to say about both of them. And you know what? I think I'll try playing Reimu just to have a little bit of change. But yeah. As I was saying, the game does feel surprisingly sluggish. Considering that I've been playing Gundam Versus, that's a plane going over if you can hear that on the microphone. Considering that I've been playing a lot of Gundam Versus, it feels relatively slow. Apparently I'm fighting Reimu with Reimu. That's a little bit odd, but I'll work with it. It's due to a few things, mainly the movement speed is what does it for me. Like, the dashing in this game is weird. So you do have a little bit of a boost meter there, and you have to recover if you use too much of it. It's also surprisingly annoying because, you actually have to press it twice. Like, you have to press it once to start dashing, then you have to press it once to stop dashing. I'm not entirely sure why they insist on doing that. It's just weird more than anything else. As you can see, the AI is way better than I am in this mode, for no particular reason. It's just, they've just massively put the AI difficulty up, and there doesn't seem to be a happy medium more than anything else. Also, here comes Reimu's special attack, and Reimu's special attack is kind of ridiculous, because it sticks around almost forever, and does an absolute ton of damage. You can literally just one-hit KO people with this. And by people, I mean AI with it, because they just seem to sit around and take them more than anything else. But yeah, as I was saying, it's just kind of sluggish. The chains are fairly slow to come out. Uh-oh. Oh, great, now I have to deal with it. Yep, and I'm dead. That's literally it. Like, it's one loss and you're out. You can't even retry. No real point to even retrying, but... well, yeah, there you go. It's alright, we're doing that again. I'm not leaving you with only 20 minutes of footage, 5 minutes of which is menus. We'll play as, Sakuya, I guess. Why not? But yeah, your combos are slow. The actual attacking is slow. Even dashing feels really stiff. Just because of how you have to press it twice, and the game's camera is a bit weird as well. Sometimes the lock-on will just fail. Like, you play a game like Gundam Versus where it knows that your most important thing in the world is keeping your eyes on your enemy so that you can avoid the bullets. And you would think in Touhou, this would count double. You would literally think this would count double just because that... oh god. You'd think this would count double just because of, you know, it's Touhou, it's bullet hell. You want to be avoiding as many of these bullets as possible. But no, it's weird like that. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing, but they're doing it, or at least they're trying to. How the fuck did I lose all my health so fast? Alright, I'm gonna try that again, but you can see how how much the challenge of the AI gets boosted in the other modes for no reason whatsoever. Compare that to Story, where the difficulty doesn't get any harder at all, and the final boss is literally just an attack spammer, and you can see the problems going on here. And the problem with it being so sluggish and slow-paced is that dodging the actual bullets or sending your own bullets back out is actually kind of hard. Like, I imagined, like, when I first played this game and understood the concept of throwing attacks back and forth and using them to charge your own special meter and stuff like that, I was expecting something along the lines of, like see how I just lose sight of my enemy until, once I go into the... Yeah, there's your melee attack, by the way. Probably not something you should do unless you're really close and really feeling the risk, but... But yeah, considering that the general idea is you want to be avoiding as many of your opponent's attacks as possible, at least I thought that was what Touhou was meant to be. Dealing with this crap where you have to... where you're trying to, like, get out of the way and your camera's losing lock-on, or you've got these massive spreads of bullets that are almost impossible to bloody dodge. All these massive special attacks that can come out of nowhere immediately show up and just wipe the floor with you unless you're actively trying to get out of the way as fast as humanly possible, and do so much damage that you die almost immediately. It's just frustrating to deal with, because you would think that it would be like a big battle of just trying to dodge back and forth, trying to get your meter charged up while not putting yourself in harm's way, and I'm dead again. Panty shot. Seriously, this is ridiculous. I'm going back to... I keep thinking of bloody Marcus Kurisu from Steins Gate. It's driving me mad. Marisa Kirisame. But yes, as I was saying, you just think you would have this little back and forth between, you know, firing and then dodging and then firing back. With the bullets and the spreads all being so wide, and great, I'm fighting myself apparently. With the bullets and the spreads all being more or less either really wide or ridiculous lock-ons, it doesn't really seem to be focused around that, and so I'm not really sure what this game is trying to do. Like, it doesn't feel like Touhou, and Touhou. It doesn't really feel like Touhou, and it doesn't really feel like, or at least what I know of Touhou, and it doesn't really feel like a game like Gundam Versus, which is certainly the first game I thought of when I had a few rounds of this, first of all. And that's just the frustrating thing about it. I don't know what it's trying to do, and what it's doing is just, at the end of the day, not that engaging. It really just does feel like spam. It feels like just a massive amount of ridiculous bullet spam. That's seriously all this game really has going for it, at least in my eyes. Combine that with the fact that some characters seem bloody useless. There's a couple of characters who don't really have anywhere near what feels like an appropriate amount of, we don't have anywhere near what feels like an appropriate amount of attacks to use. See, I actually finally beat it, but you'll find out the... Oh, sorry, my head's killing me. You'll find out the condition in winning in this mode in a moment, but yeah. Just the overall spamminess of it just makes it way less technically interesting than it has any right to be. It's such a clever idea, but it feels wasted. Really? It feels wasted in trying to be a bloody Touhou game. I understand that there are actually some full-on, honest-to-God, oh, for God's sake. I know that there's some full-on, honest-to-God, Touhou 2D fighting games. And playing this makes me want to try it out to see if, you know, they can actually do the concept right. Because that actually sounds great. Like, I can imagine playing a bullet hell-focused 2D fighter. That would be insane. Also known as, like, a bunch of the 2D roguelikes that have come out recently. Like, not roguelikes, but, Metroidvanias. Rabi Ribi might be an example for you here. Oh crap, I don't even remember what this is. I'm gonna die. Gotta run for it. I can't even see what's behind me. Right. As her health comes back up fast. Alright. I get one more hit and I'll be alright. Really? Seriously? The fuck is she blocking me with? There we go. Yeah, the entire game just feels relatively slow and spammy, and the one thing that I haven't actually shown you in this video, but you're more than welcome to go look it up somewhere else because I'm not going through the Blaze story mode again because it's so bloody boring with the AI being so easy. But the final boss of the game really highlights the problem, which is it's literally just a giant head that you have to spam with attacks while it spams you with attacks from all the other characters. And I'm not entirely sure what they're going for with that. But it's just really frustrating. I would like to see this concept done in a more interesting way. Take this. Please tell me that's an instant. Yep. That was practically an instant kill right there. See what I mean about this shit being really powerful for no discernible reason? But it's literally just a head that spams attacks at you. I swear that's what the final boss is. And it just kind of highlights the point. It's not interesting, and it's not that fun to fight. It's literally just a giant head that throws attacks at you. Once its health gets down, like, below 1/3 of what it normally is, it screws you hard. It will throw out a giant set of, like, fairies. Like, fairy heads they'll follow you around and just, like, wipe the floor with you. It has this big laser beam that takes off half your health in one shot. It has all of this just weird crap, and none of it is that engaging to fight. I'm gonna get hit. No, I'm actually fine, okay. Thanks, camera, for being so bloody slow. Almost got me hit there. And that's just kind of what this game feels like. It doesn't really feel like a interesting fight. It just feels like spamming more than anything else. Like, you saw the amount of attacks that girl got out, and the only reason I missed them is that due to the way the game's aiming works, some of your bullets, due to the way you hold your buttons, like, holding the L button will make your shots go higher, most of them anyway, by default, and not holding them has them go along the ground, and if you're in the air, they'll go downwards. So you don't really have any sort of control over that. Imagine being able to fire out all three at once, but in a pattern that would have to be dodged. That would be more interesting, but no, it just kind of feels like luck. Also, I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, Cuicci. Cuicci is the DLC character, so a bit weird that I'm able to play here of all places, but play against her here, I should say, of all places, but, yeah, there you go. They haven't actually put her out yet as they haven't actually put out her DLC character yet. What the hell is she doing? I have not seen this before. That was easy. I could see some people getting really pissed off about that. But yeah. I don't like these other modes either. I mean, I don't mind having survival modes or anything like that, but here's the thing about them. Since both of these modes work this way, by the way, it's not just the score attack, it is the survival mode as well, or the other arcade mode, I should say. You don't get full health. Now, I know I don't have full health right now, but that's because I've actually been doing really well for some fucking reason. But if you go into a fight with, like, say, I don't know, if you have, like, 50% health left at the end of a fight, you'll go into the next battle with something like 75%. And no, there's nothing you can do about this. Yes, it makes the game awfully dull, because you have to... That means you have to, they're not like actual arcade modes where you can retry them over and over again just as a bit of practice. No, you have to rely on the versus CPU for that, which you have to reset every bloody time. And yeah, since you can't continue and all that, and they're both literally the survival modes except for points and for... Wow, I didn't even realize I had too little health there. Bloomer shot. Oh hey, I actually got above 1 million points. But anyway, as I was saying, great. You just saw my email on screen. I'm gonna have to bloody... I'm gonna have to edit my video and blank that out. But yeah, it's just frustrating to me. Like, it's frustrating that I can't just, like, retry as much as I want to try and get to the end of a preset arcade mode or something like that. And you have to do that with every character, by the way. You have to get good enough to beat, like, 7 battles in a row in arcade and get 1,000,000 points in score attack with every character in order to get all the trophies. That's literally all the trophies except for going online and beating 10 people. This game does also have ad hoc matches, but again, I don't have anyone here who would own this game to play ad hoc with me, so there you go. I mean, I do have 3 Vitas sitting around, but yeah, whatever. I don't really like Burst Battle that much. The only thing I really like about it is the idea. The story is really lightweight and isn't really satisfying in any way, and the AI is too easy in that. The other 2 modes are too hard and have just annoying conditions to them, like not being able to go back to full health and retry just for the purpose of practicing. And online, as I said, couldn't really try it, but for some reason I can't play with the Japanese people, who'd be the biggest community for this game anyway. So yeah, I gotta admit I'm disappointed. If you're looking for a good fighting game, and this isn't a recommendation out of the bat, I'm not shilled to do this, by the way, but we do have Under Night In-Birth EXE latest coming this year sometime from Axis, and hopefully that will turn out to be better than this one. There's also apparently another Touhou fighting game on Vita in Japan right now called Touhou Sky Arena. I'll probably end up checking that one out when I get around to doing another set of Japanese imports on the PlayStation Store. But for now, I'm just kind of left with this disappointment. Like pretty much every other game that's come out under the Touhou name in America, except maybe Genso Wanderer, but again, you came out on the same platform as Shiren the Wanderer. You were going to get sodomized. You were going to lose. You were going to lose badly. But yeah, there you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.